the hidden key to Shay, everyone. Welcome back to the Health Mentor. I'm Dr. Miki, your guide to understanding health in a simple, science-based, and practical way. Here on this channel, we break down complex medical topics into easy, everyday solutions so you can take control of your body, your mind, and your long-term well-being. Today we're talking about something truly powerful, something that controls nearly everything in your health. No, from immunity to energy to mood. Your gut, yes, your gut is not just where food goes, it's where your immune system actually begins. So if you've been getting sick often, feeling low on energy, or dealing with bloating, this video is for you. Let's dive in and discover how to build a stronger immune system, starting right from your gut. Dostif, music fades, video starts strong immunity, right? Let's talk about something most people ignore when they think about immunity, your emotions. We talk about vitamins, diet, and exercise all the time, how tech steals your sleep. Let's be honest, most of us end our day the same way, lying in bed, scrolling through our phones, catching up on social media or YouTube. It feels relaxing, but biologically, it's the worst possible way to tell your brain it's bedtime. Here's why. You know, our bodies are wired to respond to light. It's the master signal that controls our circadian rhythm, the natural Arter-Sooth-hour sleep-wake cycle. During the day, bright light, especially blue light from the sun, keeps us alert by increasing cortisol and suppressing melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep. At night, as darkness falls, melatonin rises, signaling your body that it's time to rest. But when you stare at your phone, laptop, or TV late into the evening, that blue light hitting your eyes sends your brain a very confusing message. It's still daytime. The result, your melatonin release gets delayed by up to quarters minutes. Past show. That means even if you're lying in bed for 8 hours, your brain doesn't start resting until much later, leading to poor sleep quality, restless tossing, and groggy mornings. Hear the science behind blue light? Blue light isn't evil. It's part of natural sunlight and actually helps us stay focused and alert during the day. The problem is timing and intensity. Electronic screens emit concentrated amounts of blue light directly into your eyes, tricking your brain into thinking it's noon, even at midnight. This constant stimulation affects your pineal gland, which controls melatonin. Over time, disrupted melatonin production can lead to no insomnia and shallow sleep. Poor focus and mood swings. Hormonal imbalance. Even a weakened immune system. Signing how to protect your sleep from screens. You don't need to throw away your devices. You just need to use them smarter. Here are practical, science-backed habits to fix your sleep-screen relationship. Digital sunset rule. Turn off screens at least 10 minutes before bed. Let your brain naturally wind down. Night mode. Use the night shift or blue light filter setting on your phone, laptop, and TV. This warms the screen color and reduces blue light exposure. Blue light glasses. If you work late, wear blue blocking glasses. They can reduce melatonin suppression by up to Bifinger bashers. Evening lighting, switch to dim, warm lights, amber or red tones in your bedroom. Mindful replacement, replace screen time with calm activities, reading, journaling, meditation, or listening to soft music. Dear final thought, your brain needs darkness to rest, not distraction. When you reduce blue light before bed, your body thanks you with deeper sleep, faster recovery, and sharper mornings. So tonight, try this experiment. Turn off your screens an hour earlier, dim the lights, and give your brain the signal it's been waiting for. It's time to rest. You'll be surprised how quickly your sleep transforms, preparing the mind to rest. Most people think sleep begins when you close your eyes, but in reality, sleep begins about 1 hour before you actually fall asleep. That's when your brain and body slowly transition from go mode to grow mode. Think about it. All day long, you're exposed to noise, notifications, caffeine, stress, and light. Your nervous system stays alert, your heart rate is elevated, and your brain is processing thousands of signals. Then when you suddenly decide it's bedtime, your body can't just flip a switch and shut down. That's why building a consistent evening routine is so powerful. It's not about being fancy. It's about sending clear signals to your body. Nah, mm, the day is ending. It's safe to relax now. Ponder why evening routines work. Your brain thrives on patterns. When you repeat certain activities at the same time each night, like dimming lights, brushing your teeth, or journaling, your brain learns to associate those cues with rest. Scientifically, this routine triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, also known as your rest and digest mode. Heart rate slows, stress hormones like cortisol drop, and melatonin begins to rise. In short, your body prepares for deep restorative sleep naturally. And without an evening wind down, your mind stays stuck in sympathetic mode, the fight or flight state. That's when you lie in bed staring at the ceiling, your body tired, but your brain wide awake. How to build a powerful evening routine. Here's a simple, science-backed structure that Dr. Mike himself would recommend no gimmicks, just habits that align with your biology. You know, Set a consistent time and go to bed at the same time every night. Even Stensor's minutes of variation can throw off your circadian rhythm. Dim the lights licks minutes before bed. Lower brightness in your room to trigger melatonin release. Avoid bright LEDs and screens. Relax your mind. Read a light book, stretch, meditate, or write down tomorrow's to-do list. This helps you offload mental clutter. Temperature matters. Your body sleeps best when your core temperature drops slightly. Keep your room cool. Around Sherbad to Urser's degrees Celsius, Sword to low Sherbad Gressenheit is ideal. No stimulants, avoid caffeine, nicotine, or heavy meals close to bedtime. They delay melatonin and keep your system active. Y'all, in your evening routine is not about being strict, it's about being intentional. When you repeat calming habits, you train your brain to relax on cue. Over time, your body begins to crave that peaceful rhythm, your heart slows, your breath deepens, and sleep arrives effortlessly. So tonight, don't just go to bed, prepare to sleep for Iversingstumpsire. So tonight, don't just go to bed. Prepare to sleep gently, mindfully, consistently, because great sleep doesn't start in your bed, it starts in your routine. Sal, have you ever noticed how what you eat can change how you sleep? Maybe after a heavy dinner, you feel sluggish, or after too much caffeine, you're wide awake at midnight. That's not random, it's biology. What you eat directly affects your sleep hormones, especially melatonin and magnesium. Melatonin, the sleep messenger. Let's start with melatonin, your body's natural sleep switch. It's produced by your pineal gland in response to darkness. When melatonin levels rise, your body temperature drops, your brain activity slows, and you feel sleepy. But here's something many people don't realize. Melatonin doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's made from an amino acid called tryptophan, which comes from your diet. When you eat foods rich in tryptophan, like turkey, eggs, nuts, seeds, and cheese, your body converts it first into serotonin, the mood-boosting neurotransmitter, and then into melatonin at night. That means your daytime meals actually help prepare your body for nighttime rest. Without enough tryptophan and other supportive nutrients like vitamin B low, your melatonin production can drop, leading to restless nights. Jetta, magnesium, the calm mineral. Next comes magnesium, often called the relaxation mineral. It doesn't make you sleepy on its own, but it helps your body stay calm enough to fall asleep. Here's how it works. Magnesium regulates GABA. A neurotransmitter regulates GABA, a neurotransmitter that slows down brain activity. It tells your nervous system, relax, it's safe now. Low magnesium levels can lead to muscle tension, anxiety, and even insomnia. Many people today are magnesium deficient because processed foods strip it away. But it's easy to replenish through natural sources like leafy green spinach, kale, nuts and seeds, almonds, pumpkin seeds, whole grains, dark chocolate in moderation. Adding these foods to your dinner or evening snack can significantly improve relaxation and sleep quality. Any good foods that disrupt sleep, just as some foods support your sleep hormones, others sabotage them. Caffeine, alcohol, and heavy, high fat meals too close to bedtime can delay melatonin release and increase heart rate, keeping your body in alert mode. Even sugary snacks at night can spike your blood sugar, causing energy crashes that interrupt deep sleep. Lowland sleep isn't only about what happens at night, it's about how you fuel your body all day long. When you nourish your system with the right foods, those rich in tryptophan, magnesium, and balanced nutrients, you're giving your body the raw materials. It needs to build the very hormones that help you rest. Yeah. So next time you plan your dinner, remember, you're not just feeding your body, you're feeding your sleep. The truth about sleep supplements. Let's be honest, we live in a world where everyone's looking for quick fixes. Feeling tired? There's a pill for that. Can't sleep? Just take a supplement. But here's the truth. While some sleep supplements can help, they're not magic, and using them the wrong way can actually make your sleep worse over time. Extend the role of supplements. Sleep supplements are designed to support your natural rhythm, not replace it. Your body already has everything it needs to sleep: melatonin, magnesium, GABA, and serotonin. The problem? Stress, light exposure, poor diet, and irregular routines disrupt these systems. So supplements can help restore balance, but only when used smartly and temporarily. Dinder melatonin, the most misunderstood one. Melatonin is probably the most popular sleep aid and the most misunderstood. It's not a sedative, it doesn't knock you out. Instead, it's a signal to your brain that it's time to sleep. The problem is many people take too much Wu mimigrams, Shu M mg, even more. Thinking more means better sleep. But science shows your body only needs a tiny amount, around Linden sand to EE mimijane, to mimic natural melatonin levels. Higher doses can actually confuse your body's rhythm, making you dependent on it. Melatonin is best used short term, for example, when traveling or adjusting your sleep schedule, not as a daily crutch. Dibatix magnesium, the underrated hero. If you want a supplement that truly helps without dependency, magnesium is your best friend. Specifically, magnesium glycinate or magnesium threonate help relax muscles, calm the nervous system, and support melatonin production. It's not a sleeping pill. It helps your body remember how to relax. If you often feel tense or restless at night, magnesium can be a safe, natural way to support deeper rest. ZB other common supplements, theanine, found in green tea, it promotes calmness without drowsiness. Great for anxiety-related insomnia. Valerian root helps reduce the time it takes to fall asleep, but can cause grogginess if overused. GABA, a neurotransmitter that quiets the brain, helping you unwind faster. The key is moderation and understanding that these are tools, not cures. Menacerid, the hidden risk. Many people skip the basics: light exposure, stress control, and nutrition, and jump straight to supplements. That's like trying to patch a leaking boat instead of fixing the hole. Without healthy sleep habits, supplements only mask the problem. Worse, long-term dependence can reduce your body's ability to produce its own sleep hormones naturally. Supplements can be helpful allies, but never the heroes. Good sleep starts with routine, nutrition, light management, and stress balance. Use supplements wisely, under guidance, and always let your body lead the way. Because real rest doesn't come from a pill. It comes from giving your body permission to heal, unwind, and recharge naturally. Kolsemsha, gut health, the foundation of immunity. If I told you that most of your immune system isn't in your blood or bones, but actually in your gut, would you believe it? Yeah. It sounds surprising, but it's true. About Bifinger, tiers of your immune cells live in your gut, quietly defending your body every single day. Your gut isn't just a place where food gets digested. It's a living, breathing ecosystem made up of trillions of bacteria known as the gut microbiome. Think of it as a massive control center that trains your immune system. It's like balances inflammation, and even communicates directly with your brain. Endurna, the gut immune connection, here's how it works. When you eat, your gut lining, only one cell thick, acts as a barrier between your body and the outside world. Good bacteria help digest food, absorb nutrients, and fight off harmful microbes. If your gut flora is balanced, your immune system stays calm but alert. But when it's disrupted by poor diet, antibiotics, stress, or processed foods, bad bacteria take over. This causes inflammation, weakens your immune response, and can lead to allergies, fatigue, or even autoimmune diseases. Basically, your gut is like a bouncer at the door, letting the good guys in and keeping the bad guys out. When that bouncer is overworked or undertrained, chaos begins inside your body. Beckon, how to strengthen gut health naturally. Eat whole, fiber-rich foods. Your good bacteria feed on fiber found in fruits, vegetables, beans, and whole grains. More fiber means more short-chain fatty acids, which strengthen your gut lining and lower inflammation. Add fermented foods. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi are full of probiotics, live bacteria that restore balance to your gut. Cut down on processed foods and sugar. These feed harmful bacteria, causing imbalance and bloating. Stay hydrated. Water supports digestion and helps maintain the mucus layer in your intestines, your body's first line of defense. Manage stress. Chronic stress changes gut bacteria and increases permeability, what some call a leaky gut. Meditation, exercise, and deep breathing keep your gut-brain axis stable. Call it the gut-brain immune triangle. Your gut and brain are in constant communication through the vagus nerve. When your gut is inflamed, it sends distress signals that affect your mood, energy, and even anxiety levels. That's why improving gut health doesn't just boost immunity, it improves mental clarity and emotional balance too. While your immune system doesn't just live in your bloodstream, it begins in your belly. Feed it right, care for it daily, and it will reward you with strength, focus, and resilience. So the next time you sit down to eat, remember, you're not just feeding yourself, you're training your immune army.